All right, guys, we're live. Woohoo! Thank you. Thank you for that pause and letting me get all situated here. So great. Awesome. Let's see. We're just getting in. So we're talking star seeds tonight, our cosmic helpers. So everybody who's here to help Mother Earth from other times and places, and we're going to talk we're going to talk all things starseed. And I have my illustrious QHHT Level 3 practitioner buds here, Judy Cocu and Ann Basili. Thank you for being with me.
Thank you for
So,
having us.
yeah,
Thank you. Thanks.
I'm going to ask you guys to introduce yourself straight away. So, Judy, why don't you tell everybody where you are, where you're from, and how you got into this QHHT thing?
Well, I'm Judy Cocu. As you can hear, where Anne and I are both Australians. I live in the state of Victoria, in sort of the eastern side of the country, and I live about 4 hours out of the capital city, in a place called Bairnsdale, just near there. Beautiful area with lots and lots of lakes and very, very nice area. So how I got into QHHT was a random, but we know that there's no such
Right.
thing as random,
Random.
a random name drop of Dolores Cannon in relation to past life regression. And I hadn't really done anything with that in my journey throughout life, but I came home. I was at a metaphysical meeting, and I came home and I immediately looked up Dolores Cannon. And of course, a very large company that sells books had had the books listed there. And of course, the Three Waves of Volunteers was the most prominent one. So I immediately downloaded it onto a Kindle, and that was it.
Oh,
From there on, I was like, oh, this is what I have been looking for all my life.
yeah. Yeah.
So I just kept downloading book after book after book after book, and I read most of them for about a year. That was in 2018. And obviously, I was getting so intrigued that I was looking at potentially doing a course. And I went and had early the next year, 2019, I went and had a session to experience what it was like. And there was a live course coming to Sydney, which is about 700 miles from me. And unfortunately, the dates didn't work. I was going away on a trip with some people from overseas. Well, as things would happen,
The trip gets canceled.
exactly 2 weeks. We call this the SC shuffle. Those that are meant to be at the course, things happen and they go, and those that aren't drop out. So I was on that plane to Sydney, and I had a front row seat in the room, and I just knew that this was definitely where I was supposed to be, what I was supposed to be doing. And as Julia was there with Kaya and Suzanne Spooner, and talking about the different levels, and I knew that I was going to be aiming straight for level 3
Uh-huh.
without even having done anything.
You couldn't spell it yet.
So it was such an amazing experience being at the course.
Mm.
It was quite fascinating. For those that aren't aware of how the course proceeds, we have a day where we do sessions on each other as part of our training. And I was working with a group of 4, and oh my goodness, you can't make this stuff up. The 4 of us had been in Atlantis together,
No way.
working together. I was a teacher. Another one was an assessor. Actually, that was Linda that was on your show a couple of months
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah. Linda
And
Rich.
the
Yeah.
other two, the other two were students.
Whoa.
And and not only it wasn't only us, in this group of about 35 people, but just about everybody else experienced going to a life in Atlantis, virtually the whole group. It was quite incredible.
Wow.
So it really cemented everything in, and from that point forward, it was just, you know.
Wow. Wow. So what year did you make your level 3? So 2018 to when?
2021.
Yeah. Okay.
21, early in 21.
That's fast. That's fast. Yeah.
Well, you know how we have our first 25 sessions. I ended up doing them in 35 days.
Whoa.
35 days. As I said, I was on that trajectory. I was going.
All right. Way cool. Way cool. So 3 waves of volunteers being your introduction. Our topic tonight is got to be pretty interesting for you then. Yeah. Cool.
Absolutely.
Cool. Well, welcome, welcome. Ann, tell us about yourself. So where are you and how'd you get into all this stuff?
Okay, it could be a long story, but I'll make it really brief. I'm in the western part of Australia, but I'm in the southwest of Western Australia, about 3.5 hours south of the city. Something about being in the country, I think doing this work as well, is you need to be surrounded by lots of trees and ocean. So I feel very supported and secure in this place. So this is where I really I guess honed my healing work in this area. But the first time I think I heard Dolores, this is way back, probably early 2000s, and it was mostly to do with the UFO material that she was putting out. At the time, the whole indigo children were a big part of that, and the new children. So I had a daughter around that time. I hadn't heard anything about volunteers or anything like that. So I was tuning into Dolores's work back then. There wasn't much Facebook. There wasn't much interaction that way. I used to get emails, and there was the metaphysical hour that I could never join because I was so far away. But one year she actually came to Perth from memory, and I had attended a UFO conference. It was called the International UFO Conference. There was about 100 of us at in the stadium, in the university. I remember there was a group of people who were presenting, and I didn't click that Dolores was there or had spoken there until I was reading a book, and it said in Perth 2002, and I went, oh my God.
That was her.
That was her. So I had learned a lot about that. It wasn't, okay, here we go with the volunteer stuff. 2012, you know, that year, which was, I think, pretty significant for most of us. We want to talk starseeds. We were going through things. So 2012 was probably the beginning and ending of what I call my life. And it was very traumatic, and there was a lot of turmoil. During that time was very emotional for me. I had to go through quite a very dark period. And a friend of mine had a QHHT session. Now, this was very new. I think there was only one practitioner in Western Australia at the time. I tried to get in with her. I couldn't. She was not available or not answering. So my friend showed me the videos actually on YouTube about this 3 waves of volunteers. Well, I cried for the 2 hours that it was on. You know that feeling where you just go, oh my God, someone knows my story, and here I am, and this is me. This is what I'm going through. So that was probably the doorway that opened for me. But from there, I got a lot of Dolores's books and started to work through my own personal trauma journey plus healing journey. So that took me to 2015, where I was really embedded in healing. But fast forward, I was very stubborn with the whole do the course. So some people are like, yeah, I'm going to do it. And I was like, no, I've got enough on my plate. I'm doing enough of this healing. I'm a counselor. I'm doing all this trauma work. I'm too busy for this kind of thing. So it actually took till 2019, after I got unwell and then healed myself, that I got the big universal knock on the head saying, you have to do the course. And I thought, okay, here's the deal. I'm going to pay out and do this beautiful course. And if the worst case scenario is I have a really good time, then it's a win. So, of course, I did the course and I was like, oh my God, why haven't I done this ages ago? I get it. Like, I get it. It was everything I had been, everything I was doing, it just came together into the one course and the one practitioner thing. So then I could be available to everybody, helping everybody. I didn't have to specialize anymore. It was just amazing.
Right.
So yes, the thank you, universe, for giving me a few good prods, very, very forceful in ways, but I did listen and I'm really grateful that I did. So yes. And like Judy, I went to do the I think it was the live in Egypt.
Oh.
And I think that was 2019 or 18. I don't remember, but there was a live in Egypt and I thought, I'm going to this, and I was crying. I'm going back for a reunion. I just knew in my heart I was going back for a reunion, but I couldn't get the funds. Like, this was just, it wasn't going to happen. And I kept praying, it's going to come next. It's going to come closer to me so I can go. And I think the following year, maybe that was the 2000, it was Bali, and then COVID hit, and then it was cancelled, and we didn't go anywhere. So then it was pretty much an online adventure, and then I just started seeing people, and away we went, and I've never looked back. And like Judy was like, oh, I'm going all the way. There's no halfway measures here. And yeah, I just fell in love. Like, I literally fell in love, and I was like, this is the best thing ever. And here I am today.
Yeah.
So,
awesome.
yay.
Oh, welcome. Most everybody's heard my story. It was through tragedy also too, Ann. My son went to jail and found Convoluted Universe Book 4 in jail. And that's how I found Dolores, was through his experience. It was very emotional, very challenging time in my life. But what you said, though, triggered something for me, a memory, because I had gotten my PhD in psychology in 2010 and was training and doing, talk therapy and psychotherapy. And then I found Dolores at the end of 2012, beginning of 2013. And this thought occurred to me. I think I might have found her on December 21st, 2012. I think that might have actually been the actual date of my phone call with my son from jail, because he got out right at Christmas time. So anyway, and so I go to the class immediately. Well, we went to a weekend seminar with her. I had profound experiences all weekend, and that was in January. And in February, I was in training. I'm like, this is it. But it's the same thing. It's like, this is too effective. This is too brilliant. This is too powerful. Why would I waste my time doing anything else? Like, everything else is just so struggly and harder and not as effective. You might get some healing out of it, but this is just like guaranteed pretty much, that you're going to get all your questions answered and your healing done. And it's like, why would I do anything else? So anyway, yeah. So welcome. We have quite a few people online. Please introduce yourself. We have Donna from North Carolina. We have Carol from New York. And there's lots of other people that haven't introduced yourself. So in the chat, please introduce yourself so we know where you're coming in from. All right, we're going to talk about starseeds tonight. And I was telling Ann before we went live this morning, or the morning for them, evening for me, that I didn't like that term when I first heard it. And I was well into I was in my 40s before I heard that term. And when I heard it, I was like, it really made me itchy. It really made me kind of like a little angry. It got my hackles up, just the term. And then I was like, what's up with that? Why is that term triggering me? And when I really looked into it, I was like, oh, because who isn't a starseed? Like, we're all starseeds. Like, that's stupid. Why would you call somebody a starseed? It's like, well, I'm going to call him human, right? Like, if I'm talking to you, you're a human, right? So anyway, tell everybody, in your opinion, what is a starseed? Ann, I'll have you go first. What is a starseed?
What is a starseed? Okay, First time I heard that would have been in Dolores's books. And I went, oh, yeah, well, we're made of the stars. So that's wonderful. I love this. And I think she was using the term in relation to those that had come specifically from other maybe galactic families or areas that they're soul connected with mostly, and they came to Earth to assist. So I thought, oh, that's a wonderful thing. And then later it morphed, that it became more popular. This term became more popular. And I thought, everyone's saying we're all starseeds. And I went, yes, we are all starseeds. We started to realize we actually had all this DNA from a variety of beautiful creatures. And being it was such a all-encompassing term. I didn't have the trigger response like you did, Holly, but I certainly felt a relationship to it. And I kind of thought it was a very exciting term. I think it's been very normalized now, and I kind of like that it's normalized. But I see two ways about it, or two definitions in relation to it. One specific from Dolores, and then one more generalized for us. So.
Yeah. Do you think that popularity has watered down the meaning, or has it helped the meaning?
I think, oh, interesting. I think there's two ways to look at that. And I know I'm trying to be very diplomatic because that's who I am. But I think in the beginning I was like, oh, but it takes away from the original meaning, which was those that actually were asked to come for the assistance. And I think that's a really valid point, because there were those that have come and have continued to come for a reason, to ignite awareness. I don't think it's watered down so much now. I think it just needs to have more of an emphasis on there's maybe two levels of it. But I mean, that's my opinion. I like that everyone feels that they're a starseed. I know that some people get a little bit sort of triggered when people say, no, it's only just this group of people that should be called that. But I think we all just have to get past the nitty-gritties of, definitions and what that means. But yeah, and I guess we'll talk more about the original definition maybe of that. That came about.
Yeah. So Judy, what do you think? What's a starseed?
Well, I first came across that terminology in the mid-90s. I was doing some color work. I was doing some color readings based on color, and I was working out of a bookshop that had all these fabulous books. I don't recall seeing Dolores Cannon there, and as I was reading these and the sort of people that were coming in, there was just such relatability to me that, yes, I am one of these, which is one of the people to come and be assisting. So it was very, very definitely there in me right back then. But as regards the terminology, I mean, I agree with Anne. There's sort of like the two interpretations, but I think it, rather than being watered down now, I think it's creating a much broader awareness of our origins. And that is really powerful stuff, because once a person even starts to consider that, we have evolved from other races beyond this planet, it opens the door for a lot more connection and understanding and broadening their own very limited human perspective at this point outwards, and, just embracing more and more and more.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. Well, we keep talking about it, so we should probably tell people about it. Dolores's books, 3 Waves of Volunteers and the New Earth. So there's people listening that haven't read that, but it's a honker. I think it's 400 plus pages. It's a really, really big book. But Dolores, in her, I guess the research for that book probably started in the mid 80s, maybe late 80s, early 90s. And I think it was published in the early 2000s, like maybe 2009 or 7 or something like that. But anyway, so she was researching it for a long time. And she started hearing in her hypnosis sessions about Earth shift and the new Earth. And so she started asking a lot of questions in hypnosis, like, what's this about? And started finding out that the Earth was evolving. So the earth is a sentient being. She has her own spirit, her own soul, and she is kind of ready to move to a different dimension, like a different level of spiritual awakening, of soul growth. And the earth, I guess, is a weird place in the universe because we have this thing called free will and separation and forgetting. And so this is a place where people come in and incarnate if they want to forget where they're from and do it with that level of challenge. And also simultaneously, as you've forgotten who you really are, you get to do this with absolute complete free will. So you get to botch it completely if that's what you want to do. You're allowed to do that. And so because of that rule of free will, there were not so great things on the face of the earth happening. This was, World War II and primarily the nuclear proliferation. And so there were all of these higher dimensional, beautiful beings in the universe that were going, oh crap, the kids have matches. They're dangerous. They can rip holes in space and time. They can mess things up for us. And they've figured out that they've got matches and they're thinking about lighting them. And so they're talking about nuclear bombs. And so that kind of heightened the awareness of all of these other people and other planets and other dimensions and other places in the universe. But because of this law of free will, they couldn't just like bring their spaceships in and deactivate all the nukes and go, no, 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 kids, we're taking your matches away from you. They couldn't do it that way because we're a place of free will. So they figured out this ability for these higher dimensional beings to incarnate as humans, to come into birth as humans with the hope that they remembered who they were and where they were or what they were, and then to gather in mass with massive quantities of these incarnate higher dimensional people from other planets. If they all came in simultaneously, then they might be able to overwhelm then these forces that were pulling the Earth into the place of evolution that she didn't want to go. Did I get that right, guys? That
Yep.
a good summary? Is that 400 pages of a book in like a paragraph? It's a great book.
Very well.
Go read it. So anyway, the volunteers are those people from all those different planets and places that said, okay, I'll go be a stinky human for 100 years and try to do this thing, sign me up. Most of them are reticent, right? Most of them are like, do I have to? Yes, you have to. And well, we would really, really like you to. And it's really, really important if you do this. So most of them kind of got talked into it. And here we are. And so the waves, so Dolores talks about the waves, and so there's multiple generations, and the waves are continuing beyond her research. And so then there's waves, generational waves of people that come in. So the first came in right after World War II. So that's wave 1, and then wave 2 came in like the late 60s, early 70s, 80s, and then wave 3 came in right at the turn of the 2000s, and then I've got an 18-month-old granddaughter. I guarantee you she's a star seed. And so the waves are continuing. So those are definitely the star seeds, right? That's the star seeds you were talking
Absolutely.
about, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So have you guys had any of these star seeds in your sessions?
I think most of our clients are probably volunteers.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're the ones that are drawn to doing this work. So I would have to say the vast majority of them do. Yes, they are. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But it's quite funny, they're those that are flowing with it and doing everything that they can as they come across, and the other ones that haven't really hooked onto that yet, but when they do realize, it's like, oh, what the heck was I thinking to come to this place?
Yes.
Why did I do that?
I've had clients in session go back to that moment, right? They'll
Yeah.
regress to that moment where they're signing up for Earth. And it's this huge, like, I won't say argument, but debate, you know, and the other friends and family are really trying to talk them into it. You know, please, come on, you got to do this, you know, and they're like,
Yeah.
But it's quite interesting when in the process of a session we take them through a death and they go beyond, and very often it's like the welcoming party. Yay, you did it, you did it.
Yeah.
And they think if you're here, you're the brave one. You know, you were the brave one. They're like, they're applauding for you even now, right? Even during the incarnation. Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All that positive encouragement. You're doing so well.
Anne, have you ever had anybody go back to deciding to be a volunteer?
Yes, I have had quite a few. Probably not as many as what Judy's saying, majority. And mine are probably more minority, but that could be that's just what's coming up on the day. But certainly it's a very, very emotional decision. There's lots of tears. There's even tantruming, you know, like it's not easy to choose to come. And there is a lot of like, you know, you kind of really have to go. And I hear them saying, you know, I was kind of forced to come, and you're thinking, how can they force you? But there is a sense of being forced or pushed into it.
Coerced,
Coerced.
Persuaded.
Yes,
strongly persuaded.
Correct. It's sort of a more gentle term, but yes, there's that sense of I really don't want to do this, and I don't want to leave here, and it looks, you know, and then they come, and it's hard. I think that's the problem, is that they come and they're so overwhelmed when they do incarnate, which then is where they get stuck here. So it's, they know there's purpose, or there's some inner purpose we forget, obviously, or they forget. And then there's a sense of emotional turmoil and trauma as to why the hell am I here? They can't relate. Can't relate to this human experience because it's foreign. It's very, almost so anti their sense of, you know, values of love and connection and togetherness and community, that they don't see that here. So it's a very, very overwhelming experience. And I think a lot shut down, which is why they obviously come for healing, because they don't know what they're meant to do. And the volunteers book that Dolores wrote just nails it to a T about the feeling of coming and being lost, and how the loneliness as well. Like we're not you're put in a little group together to feel cozy. We're put everywhere. And it's like, okay, you're going to share your light on that far away place on your own, and you're going to be so overwhelmed, but you're going to be okay. This is going to work for you. And I think when we come, we think, oh, this is going to be amazing. And I think that's some of the feeling too. We can do this. This is going to be easy. We can do this. This is, you know, it's a glitch. What's 70 years in a lifetime of hundreds of thousands? We can do it. And then they come and it's like, oh my God. And I've even had them when they're coming into the earth, like incarnating into the earth, going through this goo, like this density goo, and they feel that shift already before they even incarnate onto the planet. So they already realize, oh, you know, this is going to be tough. Like they feel that, and then they're forgetting straight away. So
and where do you need the light? You need the light in the darkest corners.
The light in the darkest corner. Exactly.
So we have Brian from Tennessee. We have Sarah Mount from Vegas, and we have Narelle from Melbourne. Chiming in. There's a lot more of you online.
Narelle from Melbourne.
Yeah. So introduce yourself, please, and ask questions. So put in the chat your questions. We'll be happy to answer them. So Sarah has a thing here. She says 3 waves of volunteer. The 3 waves of volunteers, by way of Facebook Reel featuring Dolores was also her on-ramp to QHHT. So in a blink of an eye, she says, I read the book, got a QHHT session, and took level 1. Feels like it anyway. So
good.
yeah. Yeah. And I really think about the wave ones and with what you were just saying of the darkest of the dark and how challenging it must have been for them, the folks born right after the war, right after the bomb was created. And you just think about the density then, just the, you know, things like racism and misogyny and all of that kind of thing that had to have been at a soul level so weird for these multidimensional, higher dimensional beings. Like, what, are you kidding me? You know, I can't do that because my genitalia looks like this. Like, what? How? Yeah. Yeah. Weird.
Yeah.
So have you guys gotten anything in sessions about where the star seeds are from? Like where are these helpers coming from? Are there any patterns or anything that you're seeing?
Judy, you want to go?
They pretty much come from all over. There's very strong connections with, say, Pleiades, Arcturus. Not many Andromedans have come in my door, but just a few. So that would be the main areas. Orion, particular Mintaka, I think it's in Orion, isn't it? Yeah, a few of those have come. They have been quite interesting in as much as they very quickly found other Mintakans and created, I know that there's a little community here in this state of Victoria of a group of Mintakans. Yeah, so that's been quite interesting, but it's all over, and sometimes we can't even get a name of where they're from.
Yeah, I'll ask that in session, you know, so if we're on another planet, right, and they've got this story. So what do you call the place where you're from? And then you'll get this long pause. Well, I can't really pronounce it, and you wouldn't understand it anyway. It's like, oh, do humans have a name for this place? No, you're not even aware of it. You know, it's so far away. We don't even know it exists. Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you?
I was going to say, I think with mine, it's been definitely Palladian, and they seem to have been coming a lot longer than the others that I've had come through. So they've been coming, I think, since the beginning of time almost, and reincarnating. But volunteer-wise, yes, definitely Palladians. I have had some of the Sirians, not as many, but definitely some of the Sirian, which is in the Orion group anyway, but specifically that group. I've had a couple of Andromedans. As you say, not as many, but this couple were actually young, like, or the few that have come from Andromeda, they're very young, so they're still teens, maybe now early 20s. So that was different. So I'm wondering whether they're a newcomer to the show.
Yeah.
And then, of course, yes, then there's some that are from, like you, from somewhere completely different dimension, different galaxy. They talk about their planet and what it looks like. I had one say it was a secret planet that we weren't allowed to know about, but not in our galaxy. So, yes, lots of apparently secret planets that sending their crew in that we will never know about. Maybe later we will. Who knows? So very interesting. But there seems to be a cluster from the ones closer to and I call it the Orion Galaxy because I think we're part of that actual Orion Galaxy as a group, even the Earth. I think that may have been the original galaxy term, perhaps. So they seem to come from closer at hand.
So I get a lot of Pleiadians as well, and I have this really fascinating Pleiadian story. So there's this place in Colorado, I won't name it because then people will go tromping all over it, but there's this place in southern Colorado where there are they're called stone huts. And they're these they're piled up rocks. They're about 6 feet tall and about 12 feet in diameter, and just these rocks piled up. And they're hollow inside. There you can go in them, but like one person could barely crawl in and sit comfortably. So they're pretty small. And they're kind of like, they're very ancient looking. They're kind of like a little slumpy and, shaggy looking kind of things. And there's about a dozen or so of them all clustered together in this one place. And so I had a client that came in, and these stone huts were in his backyard, like literally on his property in his backyard. And one of his questions was, of course, for his QHHT sessions, what's up with the stone huts? And there's this sign, if you go up to the stone huts, it says, ancient Native American artifacts do not touch, please do not disturb. No, they're not ancient. Yeah. And so he's in session, and I'm asking, the higher self, what's going on? What's with these huts? And they said they used to be pyramids. So they used to be perfectly smooth on the outside pyramids. And my client had found one of the capstones, pyramid-shaped capstones. And, but they used to be whole pyramids clad in gold. The entire thing clad in gold. And they were portals. They are portals. They are still portals. And of course, and they're hundreds of thousands of years old, much older than Native Americans. And they were built as portals by the Pleiadians. Okay. And so the Pleiadians come and go through these pyramids. And so I had to ask the question, I'm like, why? Why do the Pleiadians need a portal, in this place? And the higher self said, to visit their children. Oh my God, it's so sweet. So they come in through the portals to check up on their children that are starseeds, And so the other cool thing about that session is they told me, in hypnosis, where he could go find a second capstone. And he went home and he found the other capstone and emailed me back and said, I found it. I found the other capstone. I mean, there's many more capstones, but they wanted, I guess, validation for him. And so they gave him those clues to find that other capstone. So yeah. Native American artifacts. Right. The other thing they also told him was not to go in there and meditate because he could get lost.
Ooh.
And not be able to come out, that was dangerous, that it was just for the Pleiadians. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I wonder how many people have been in them.
Yeah. And just, they're gone. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Pleiadians, absolutely. Lots and lots and lots of Pleiadians. Yeah. And I think it's also important to understand, you'll see pictures online. Oh, this is what a Pleiadian looks like or whatever. The Pleiades is a massive star system. Just in the Pleiades alone, there's probably 1,000 planets, in Arcturus alone, there's probably 5,000 planets, right? And so, when we say the Pleiades, it's not one planet and one people, like it's lots and lots and lots and lots of different kinds of people from different places. Yeah.
But there's also the information about other species, other races moving into that particular area because they lost their own home base, homeland, home planet, whatever. So it's quite an array of beings.
Yeah.
And I think Sirius is very similar to that because people think the Sirians are one breed or one species, but there's lots because it's like a collective. There was a lot of refugees that went there, and it's very intermixed, intergalactic mixing of species. It's quite beautiful. So you're right. It's not just one people looking one way coming. It's like us. We're everything. We're variety, and they're the same. And I guess I like to think they're very cosmopolitan in a way. There's a lot of, invitation for all groups to come and seek harbour or safe harbour or to act together. I think that's obviously the way we want to be eventually. And be a part of it. So, yeah.
Yeah. And I also think it's important to kind of harken back to Dolores and Three Waves, because what they're doing, it's a big sacrifice. Like we said, it's not pleasant, but it's also a little bit self-serving, because if they don't help the earth, it could really negatively impact them. If we went, gonzo with nuclear warheads, it would be problematic for their planets as well. So, yeah. Do you, I'm sorry?
Oh, it's a big task, a big ask, a big task.
It is. It is. I think another aspect of that too is that I'm reminded of, it isn't to help humans. It's to help the earth. Right. It's to help Gaia. Yeah. Yeah. We're just the brats that happen to be crawling around on her.
So I forget where I heard it, but somebody described the surface dwellers as like fleas.
I think that was Dolores. She says it. Fleas on a dome.
Yeah, exactly. And she has, we see it every day. She has the ability to wipe us off if she wanted to, right? Earthquakes and hurricanes and whatever. If she wanted to, we're gone, right? Yeah. Yeah, she's allowing us to coexist with her at this moment.
Yes, very gracious. Very gracious.
Extremely so. Given what we do.
Yeah. So, Judy, are you a starseed?
Of course.
Okay. Do you know where you're from?
Well, I do have a very deep connection with the Lyrans, but I also have a very strong connection with Venus as well. And who knows what else? It hasn't come to light yet.
All right. Very good. And do you align with one of the waves that Dolores talks about? Do you see yourself in it?
Yeah. First wave.
First wave.
First wave. Yep.
Yeah. And so
I think a lot of something that pretty much identifies a volunteer is the fact of them never feeling like they fit in with their birth family. They always feel that maybe they were adopted or something, because they just don't quite work with them. They just feel very, very different. And that was definitely the case with me when I was young. Like,
Yeah.
So what about you, Holly?
So I have a big affinity with Pleiadians. Yeah, absolutely. And then the other thing that is absolutely hilarious about my incarnation here as a starseed is that my dad worked in the nuclear industry building nuclear warheads.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
Nothing random about that, is
there?
Oh,
no, not at all. Not at all.
Thank you for coming, Holly. Thanking us.
And so this is where we're going to put you. Right in the middle of it. Yeah.
Funny.
Yeah. No, I grew up in the town adjacent to the town where the fuel for the bombs for Nagasaki and Hiroshima was created.
Wow.
That's what my dad and my granddad did.
Yay.
Yeah. Yep. How about you, Ann? Do you align with any of the other places?
Yeah, so Sirius is probably, is my, what I call my soul home, my starseed home. And this is where I got confused, and it might relate to other people too. When I did this original session, it was like, yes, you volunteer here. Okay. But I have had come before in different roles, but the same star family sends me and I come. So I'm kind of tired now. So I've started to think, maybe I'm not one of the original volunteers, but then it says that I am. So this is where I get confused with the terminology. But definitely this time around, I came right after in the 70s. So it was just after the whole thing, probably with the first wave. I thought it was second wave, but I think it's more the first wave. And that was definitely I really don't want to come again. Like, this is, I'm done here. But this was like the final, okay, I'm going to do this one more time, and let's really give it a good push. So yes, but the Sirian factor, and I had never heard about Sirius being in Orion or anything like that. So it was new to me. And then I did my Google research and found, oh yeah, there's actually a star system, and there's this and there's that. So this is, again, it's before I heard everything being so normalized and everyone knows where they're from. Well, I'd never heard of these places. So it was new to me to find out. And yes, the same, going into family, that was very, very challenging. And again, I've heard the same from other clients that have come. It's very, very challenging family situations, very much on the outside. And there's sometimes a lot of hostility towards you, which you don't understand. And we have to really work our way to working out who we are. So there's a lot to work through when you come in, even if as a starseed, you don't get an easy ride here. If anything, you get a whole heap of rough and tough lessons to work through till you work out who you are, and then you start on your beautiful path and journey to assisting Gaia and assisting people, because the helping people helps Gaia. So that's kind of how I came about, again, in a very backdoor way. I didn't know much about, things like everything's online now. You can find all this information. It was foreign to me. It really was foreign. And there was only really the Dolores books at the time. And that really helped me put things together. Like, I started, and I'm sure you feel the same when you start to put the pieces together of the jigsaw, and you go, oh my God, this is me. I'm here. This is what I'm here to do. And then the other stuff, the starseed, or the connection to a certain star system, and then you start to find that information coming through, and it comes in, and you think, oh, this makes sense. Okay, all right, I'll do the work. Sure.
Yeah. So just for those that haven't read the book, so wave ones, their challenge was just like you guys said, looking around like, who are these weirdos and what are they doing? Just that feeling of, but yet being a light in the middle of all this, what? And then wave twos were more of, I think Dolores used the term antenna. They were just wave twos. They just want to be in there. They want to be home alone, not interacting, very light-filled people, but just leave me alone. Like, I'm huddling over here. And then the wave threeers, which my son is a wave 3, and they're like shouting from the mountaintops, okay, this is how it's supposed to be, people. This is how it's supposed to be, and they're the protesters and the changers and the change makers, and because the first and second waves paved the way for them. So yay, that's great. Yeah.
It's going to be very interesting seeing the new little ones that are coming in at this particular point in time. We've actually, in our family, we've actually got 5 of them that have just come in the last 2.5, 3 years. So, and Anne also, and you, of course, too, Holly. So it's going to be very interesting to watch them develop and the abilities that they have.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
A lot of the new ones are coming in already telepathic.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So that's fun. That's fun. All right, we got lots of comments here. Let me read some of the comments. So Narelle says, "Hi, lovely ladies, enjoying listening to kindred souls speaking my language." Thank you for sharing. Yeah. So Jen says, "I was blessed to have a woke family. Good. At least mom and dad. Brother is not." So Sarah says she's second wave. And let's see. Oh, I lost Jen. Okay. Jen had lots of trauma, but mom and dad were open and curious and believed in reincarnation. So, and she's wave 3. So get out there, scream it from the mountaintops, Jen. But she says age-wise, she's more first and second wave. And I think that's an important comment to make. You know, Anne, you kind of alluded to it, but there aren't these like hard, fast cutoffs, right? I mean, there's the whole point of this whole exercise was to have so many star seeds come in that it overwhelmed, right, the frequencies of the earth. So it's not like 1 year all the star seeds showed up, right? You know, it's like metered out, right? So yeah. All right, Sarah says, Anne, I resonate with second wave and also had a personal QHHT session that revealed that I've incarnated before as a two-spirited tribal healer wisdom keeper several centuries ago. Okay, very good. And Sarah, I'll ask you, was that on Earth, this two-spirited tribal healer, or was that on a different planet? I'm not sure. Donna says, almost 59, feel like I'm first wave. Okay, could be. Absolutely. Carol says first wave for sure. Jen says, I'm a high school teacher and my kids are very in touch spiritually. Yeah. If you were a kindergarten teacher, you'd be talking to them telepathically and watching them move things across the room.
Yay.
Oh, all right. So if you know your star seed, regardless of which wave, it doesn't matter. Can you be doing it wrong? Can you be messing up your star-seededness?
I think we can get stuck and not actually meeting the requirement or the mission. You know, I think that has happened, and I think that's probably where we're at. But well, I'm talking about maybe the first waivers, maybe even the second waivers, just got so embedded and stuck that we did. Maybe, well, I don't think we just forgot. I think we actually just went, I'm out. Like, this is too much. We don't want to do this. Look, I think if it's possible that somehow the light comes through enough to highlight and say, there's more to this experience here than you think. Like, just persevere through this revolting, horrible mess and try and work out there is actually a mission that you need to get on board with and actually complete. I'm hoping that happens for everyone who has come, that they don't mess it up or not get to meet the mission that they came to do because they became very overwhelmed and maybe wanted to check out, which has also been some of the experiences. They want to check out and just go, I don't want to be here, and I'm happy to volunteer myself out of here.
And many of them do, yeah.
Correct. And I'm wondering whether that, if we want to call that part messing up, maybe it's just, but with a compassionate heart, that they're obviously checking out because it is too hard. And if we want to call that, you know, not completing the mission, then that is possible. That is possible. But again, no judgment. And it's very much, I don't blame you, seriously. It's a tough gig here. So maybe that could be considered as messing up, but I don't think that's, I think hopefully they come back and give it another round. That's what
Judy, what do you think?
Just going on, the most common reason for people coming to have a session is to understand what their purpose is. Okay, they know there's something. They know that there is something that they are supposed to be doing. And many of them are making steps towards it, but they just need validation that they are on the right path. And I would have to say probably 90% of the time they are on their path, but there are distractions along the way which retards their movement a little bit. I think I've only ever had one person that was so severely off their path that they were very much hauled over the coals for doing that. But for the most part, most people know, but they haven't quite got all the bits to the puzzle. And having a QHHT session really solidifies, it brings those pieces together, and they can start seeing, oh, I knew this, I
Mhm.
knew this, but I never trusted it. I
Mhm.
was always second guessing, or people were telling me otherwise, or, I just distracted myself. But in essence, they have been on their path doing what they needed to do and just come to a greater understanding of what it is that they're doing here.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. I think about Dolores herself, and she wouldn't, timing wise, she wouldn't have been a wave one. She was probably wave zero. She might have been the wave zero. I don't know. But all the trouble she had in the beginning of no one would publish her books. No one. She had to create her own publishing company in order for her to have her information out there. And I just think about that gumption, just that stick to itness that she had, just a absolute bulldozer. And sometimes it's just like that, right? Just I'm just going to plow through whatever to get to where I know I need to go, even though, again, I'm surrounded by weirdos that don't get it, right?
Yeah, total trailblazer.
I'm sorry, Ann. Yeah.
She was a total trailblazer, because
Yeah.
when you're on that path and there's nothing like that for you to have support from, I mean, you are really on your path forging ahead. I mean, she just was a trailblazer pushing through the limits, so
Absolutely.
it's extraordinary. I mean, we're lucky that we're, at least we've now started to find each other. But yes, Dolores was much.
Yeah. She was shunned by her community, thrown out of her church, and all of this for what she knew to be the truth. And that's, yeah. I mean, just can't even imagine. So for me, it's like, well, if she could do it, I can do it.
Yeah.
Okay, we got lots more comments. Okay, so Sarah says, look like Earth, but she was answering my questions. She said it looked like Earth, but honestly, it wasn't defined in the session. Yeah. I don't, as a practitioner, I never assume that just because someone's wearing, I don't know, leather moccasins and feathers in their hair, that it's Earth. It doesn't necessarily have to be Earth. Let's see. Kathleen says, first wave. Memories and had information come through over the years about Orion. Oh, cool. Way cool. Wars, the Orion Wars, and Soul First Incarnate and Beta Centauri as Hadarian. I've never heard of that before. Hadarian. I'll have to look that up. Interesting. Norel says, how lucky we are to have such an opportunity for self-discovery with a modality such as QHHT. Absolutely. Really not a career, a way of living and a new life. Great. Love the journey. Keep the great work up, ladies. I sure thought a lot about a lot. Also interesting to look at galactic astrology and see points, conjunct, and fixed stars. I had an interesting, I'll go there in a second. I want to read some more of these comments, but I had a really interesting session just last week about astrology. I have no clue what my mission is. However, I do know I'm done after this round. Woohoo! Not wanting to come back. Jen says, I feel like I know, but I have hit too many obstacles to want to continue. I envy those who persevere. Persevere, Jen, persevere. We need to hear. I don't remember star lives, but have had 8 or so spontaneous past life memories. Very good. Very good. Yeah, persevere. So astrology. So I had this client just last week, and we were talking. So I don't even remember in the session how the higher self got on this topic of astrology, but they were talking about how all of the astrology is changing, and so there's the current astrology, and then there's going to be a new astrology for this very reason that the you know the original astrology looked at what, 7 planets, maybe 9 planets, maybe an asteroid belt and the sun. And the new astrology, according to higher self, is going to include like thousands and millions. You'll have to have AI to figure it out, right? Kind of thing, because of the starseed influence, because now the human construct, the human, I don't want to say programming because that sounds negative, but how we use astrology to manifest things like personality and time frames and that kind of thing. That's being so influenced by greater expanses in the galaxy that our astrology has to change. So,
Wow.
Watch
so cool.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So if you are a starseed, what should you be doing? If you think you might be a starseed, how would you spend your time? What do you think, Judy?
It's very important that you keep your frequency high. And to keep your frequency high, you do the things that you love doing. And sometimes that is all that is required because you are emanating that higher frequency and thereby affecting lots of people around you, like the ripple effect.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
So there may not be anything that is specifically required of you as regards, say, working in healing or teaching or anything like that. It may simply just to be the very best version of yourself at the highest frequency that you can achieve, given this density.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You agree, Ann?
I do. I think that's definitely if you want to call it the fast track or the slipstream to bringing up everyone else's vibration is just start with yourself. Start with yourself. And as you say, you don't have to become a healer. Like a lot of clients that come, they're not saying, well, go and do healing. It is advisable if you want to, but it doesn't mean you have to work with humans. Some people don't want to work with humans. You can work with animals. You can work with plants, or not even work healing, just loving and healing and connecting with our other, our broader network of family, which are not necessarily just human beings. So you can share that, and that still brings up everything as well. But Judy's correct. We have to start with ourselves. Do the things that make you happy. And, sometimes it's doing your music because you love music, because that energy goes out into the world and has a frequency that lifts other people. Do your art. And again, they say, don't do it for an ego or for judgment or having somebody judge and validate you. It's not about being validated. It's expressing yourself, in an unlimited way, just from the heart, just express, because that then translates into a frequency and an energy and goes out into the world. Just you being happy walking out into the world, that is like an antenna radar, just blasting everybody around you. Absolutely. Be an antenna. Go out to the beach or go to places. And if you're like me, I don't like a lot of people around me, but I do go to places where I know there may be people, usually in nature, so I can at least ground myself at the same time. But I know that the energy that I'm putting out, because I'm feeling so good in the nature, is going out. And I have had experiences where I've been meditating in the forest down here. We've got a beautiful forest, and it is a tourist area because it's quite lovely. And I'll be meditating under the trees or against a tree, just quietly. I don't care about anybody else. I might be hugging a tree, and people will stop to watch me. They're still doing their thing, but you're like, man, there's like heaps of acres of forest here. You can go wherever you want, but they won't. They just want to stand in the vicinity, not on top of me, but in the vicinity, taking it in. And I read that as saying they're taking something with them, or they're absorbing whatever I'm putting out, and they need it. They need it. So this is, make it simple. Make it simple. But God, yes, if you want to do loving yourself and sharing that love with other people, then do healing work. It's anything. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Anything.
So we started this conversation with how much I was triggered by that word starseed, right? And I actually came to love it. I came to love it as much as I originally hated it, because what does a seed do?
It grows.
Nothing. Well, it just
grows.
sits in the ground and it does what it does, right? It doesn't have to try to do anything, right? It's spontaneous, right? And it, there's an environment and there's water and there's sunshine and there's whatever, but the seed itself just like sits in the ground and it is a seed. It just bees a seed, right? And so you don't have to try to do anything that you aren't, right? Just be the seed that you are and just be spontaneous. Do what makes you happy. Get your jollies, and then you're being a good seed, right? That's it. It's a seed. I'm like, oh, that's brilliant. Yes, it's a seed. Judy, I know you're a gardener, and I'm a gardener, right? So it's like, that's perfect. That's exactly the perfect term, seeds. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. All right. There's a lot more comments, so I want to get to those. But first, Judy, how do people find you?
Well, they can find me on the QHHTofficial.com website under practitioners in Victoria, Australia. Also my website, mylifespurpose.com.au, and on Facebook as well, Judy Cocu, QHHT East Gippsland. That's the only one that I'm actually on as regards the medias.
Good. All right, cool. So if you're in Victoria, Australia, and you need a session, and if you're in Victoria, Australia, you need a session, call Judy. All right, Ann, how do people contact you?
Okay, so I'm also on the QHHT forum, located in the Western Australia practitioner find, and I think I'll come up at the top with the level 3. I'll sit at the top there, but you can have a look at some information I've obviously put on the on my personal profile there, so that's a good start. I have my official website, which is ORION METAPHYSICAL. It is all one word in small.com.au. And I use that name also with the YouTube, with Instagram, and with the Facebook. I'm quite active. I go through phases where I'm really into it and then I'm off it. At the moment, I'm really into it. So I'm riding that wave of interest and happiness. And then when I'm not happy anymore, I pull out. So that's kind of how it rolls with this social media. And of course, I am on there myself too as Ann Basili on Facebook. And I tend to drop in on the Dolores Cannon forum often. But yeah, reach out to me if you want to ask me questions. I'm really happy for that. And if you are in WA and you want a session, please come and see me. Starseeds welcome. You're with family here, so come on down. It's a beautiful area here that you might want to take a day or two extra to recoup and retrieve any more downloads perhaps from nature. Yeah, come and see me. I'd love to get you past the stuckness if that's where you're at. Definitely.
Awesome. Yeah. And so you guys are on my YouTube channel, so you know how to find that already. So I am in Durango, Colorado, also QHHTofficial.com. Got to drive people there. You can search by location. You can find a practitioner close to you, QHHTofficial.com. There are fantastic level 1 and level 2 practitioners. Find someone close to you, get in, get a session. But I'm in Durango, Colorado, which is absolutely nowhere close to Denver. So don't fly into Denver. And also active on Instagram and then of course here at YouTube. All right, so let's get to some of these. Let's see, where did we stop? Okay. Jen, I resonate with you. Envy those who persevere. We gotta persevere, guys. It's about her. It's about Gaia. It's not about us. You're in service to her, Gaia, the person you're standing on. Give her your service. Let's see, Kathleen. Hadar was a planet of unconditional love. Oh, that's wonderful. Attacked by some of the Orions that were taking over other planets. Okay. So Kathleen says some fantastic galactic astrologers speaking to archetype energies from other foxes, stars, and galaxies. So super cool.
Awesome.
Yeah. So lots of that I had not heard that term, galactic astrologer. So I'm going to have to look that up. All right. So Jen says, I've heard that I need to be that happy, bright light. I do vibrate very high generally, but have pockets of deep depression. And Jen says, a seed is potential. Yeah. The other cool thing so what fascinates me is, how does a seed know what to do? Right? How does like you take a bean seed and a lettuce seed. And so if you're not a gardener, so a bean seed is like really big and a lettuce seed is like microscopic, right? And these two things make these things that we eat, but they're completely different. But they somehow you stick them in some dirt and put some water in them and it knows what to do. It's like I'm a gardening geek. I really am. All right. So Kathleen says, thanks, seeds of starlight, fixed stars, not foxes. Okay. So Donna says, how do you find out? Oh, I can't read her thing. It's my little thing's on top of it. I can't read it, Donna. How do you find out the something? YouTube, you messed me up. About Orions. I don't know what that says. So if you type that again, Donna, I'll be able to see it. How do you find out the something about Orions? So, as you were saying, Anne, Orion, we're in the Orion galaxy. So there's lots and lots and lots of things inside this as a galaxy. I mean, galaxies are massive.
Yeah. It's huge.
Yeah. 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 So, I mean, measured in like trillions of light years across. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
There's a lot going on out
Yeah.
there.
Oh, information. How do you find out the information about Orions, about I'm guessing like the Orion Wars and that kind of thing? Yeah.
Have a session.
Yeah. Yeah, very good.
Who can ask?
Very good. Yeah. Yeah. So one of
Ask
the things,
those questions.
yeah. Yeah. One of those things you said, Judy, earlier too, so I wrote the book, Finding Purpose, Surprising Wisdom from the Higher Self. And it's a compilation of over 400 QHHT sessions and the answers to what is my life purpose, right? And across over 400 sessions, there were only 4 kinds of life purpose. 4.
Wow.
Really? Wow.
Life as experience, life as service, life as love, bringing or being love. And then the most common, over half of the 400 sessions, the answers to what is my life purpose is to be.
Oh.
To be. Yeah. To be the Judy that's only ever been Judy, to be the Ann that's only ever been Ann, to be the Holly that's only ever been Holly. This is it. That's it. To be. That's it.
You're the seed.
Starseeds included, right?
Beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
We don't have to do anything. This is it.
Yeah.
We don't have to do anything. We don't have to be anything. We like to because it gives us the sense of, here we are in the world, but you don't have to.
Yeah.
You don't have to.
No.
It's
No,
freeing.
that's right.
It's very freeing and liberating once you realize that you actually don't have to be or do anything.
Yeah. Yeah. And if someone's giving you judgment about that, that's really self-judgment. And you can just release that straight away. No need. Yeah. Very good. All right. We're out of time, guys. So Judy, parting words for Starseeds, how to benefit Earth's awakening.
Simply be. Do the things you love, the things that feel good, and trust. Just trust your intuition implicitly. Trust that everything is happening exactly as it's meant to happen. Just trust that we are all doing what we need whilst we're in this space, this planet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome.
And what's your advice for Starseeds to benefit Earth's awakening?
Okay. First of all, most importantly, please heal yourself. You're worthy of that and you deserve that. You deserve to actually let go of all of that. So however you decide to choose to do that healing, just please do it, because you are so worthy and so deserving of much more. And then begin the journey of just being and experiencing. Like, you can just experience and be here and enjoy it. Find things that bring you happiness and just do that. Just do that every day. You don't have to suffer. I mean, we're programmed to think we have to suffer, but in actual fact, we don't. And turn off your TVs, please. Turn off the TV. Don't look at it. Don't get involved. If people want to talk about stuff that bring you down, just say, thank you very much. The day's too beautiful. This is what I do. The day's too beautiful to lose myself in this conversation. If you want to join me over here in the sunshine, I'm over there. You can find me and join me, but really be conscious of not letting yourself get pulled in. It's so easy because we're used to just complaining and whinging and whining, going, this is so hard, and it's so, please don't. You'll find that untethers you in enormous ways. So stay out of the muck. And if you have to go to the muck, give yourself a time limit, 24 hours, and then get out of that muck. So, but yes, please just be you. Be you, love you, and you are loved and you're supported. Oh my God, when you have these sessions, the amount of times we hear you are loved and you are supported by all of these beings around you that you don't see, but you will feel them. Tap in. So that's it in a nutshell. Tap in.
Yeah, that's where I was going to go. Your family, your galactic family's right around you. They are watching everything you do and in rapt attention and with so much gratitude and so much awe for what you're doing. I mean, they really think that you're hot stuff. They really do for doing what you're doing. And they're right there. Meditation, dreams, any kind of open state of consciousness, and they're going to be right there because they think you're fantastic. So for doing what you're doing. All right, guys, we're out of time. So thanks everybody. We have lots and lots of thank yous.
Thank you.